CFP week two, week
It,
three for us. Week two, we're entering for the actual games, but it's our third episode, season one, episode three of CFP. Um, Coming at you on our usual time slot. Um, what a weekend we had. Uh, you know, some good, some bad. We'll go through it all. Um, but I wanted to let you get something off your chest first. It just breaking news came just hot across the wire. ESPN Red Zone will feature commercials this year. Now, this is a college football podcast, CFP college football podcast. For those of you who didn't put that together yet, um, and this is in Red Zone. Obviously, is an NHL or NFL thing. But feelings on the fact that ESPN just insists on ruining anything good in the world?
yeah. Remember when they used to have, what was it called? Goal line for college football?
Yeah, yeah,
That was like ESPN's version of Red Zone for college football. It was pretty awesome. It was the same concept.
yeah. It was like on ESPN News all day.
Yeah, people got really upset when that uh, left, and now they've acquired the NFL version of it, I guess. And yeah, they're just hell bent on ruining it, monetizing it immediately. It's very Disney-ish, and Disney owns ESPN, as we know. So no real surprise. That with and you got Congress with these gambling clauses now, where if you are a break-even gambler on your tax return, you have to pay a 10% tax on that. So you end up being a loser. I don't know what they're doing to the common man in America right now, but it's getting pretty grim. Um, Red Zone doesn't full commercials. I mean,
Full. So it's not even going to be like the
right,
thing where they throw the commercial on the side. Like in golf, they do it. They'll
right.
have the commercial on the side, but still be showing everything on
It's
the.
called playing through in the
Yeah,
golf.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
And then in the prior commercials in Red Zone were banners. Like it would take up like a third of the screen, like Dr. Pepper banner, or whatever. Uh, Apparently now full. What do you mean full? What do you mean full commercials? The whole point of Red Zone is to see
Yeah,
what's happening in
you might
real
as well just
time.
watch the game.
Yeah, they're gonna lose some subscribers. Uh, they're gonna piss a lot of people off. I probably won't be leaving the service. I'll probably still, but I don't know. I don't know how extreme it's gonna be. It could change things real fast.
It is crazy that these billionaires like can't for like just the sake of public image let one thing happen. Like let this happen.
There are
Like
no no that there are no there's no exceptions either. It is just balls to the walls, corporate conglomerate greed with everything. It is. I'm so over it. But I, I'm not surprised. I was crestfallen when I heard this news today, but I'm not remotely surprised.
no, unfortunately it is not surprising. It's just kind of the state of everything now. Which is why we stay in the amateur ranks where college football where there's no such thing as any sort of greed or doing things
Yeah,
for
right.
money as we look at our 18 team Big 10 and our ACC with Cal and Stanford. There's
And
no,
Oregon's
they don't do
$40 million payroll.
yeah.
What
Hey,
on
they
earth?
spend to
What
win.
on
They
earth?
spend to win.
You're right.
Um,
Correct. That's correct.
yeah. But yeah, I mean that's kind of just where we jumped off there. But we'll get to the action on the field now. We'll stop
Wait, no, no, no,
complaining.
no, no, no. Can I ask you
No,
a
we
question?
won't.
Yeah,
You
well,
can
no, we
ask me
won't.
anything.
Can I ask you? Yeah, great. Has Mike Gundy become um like Batman, like the Batman quote, like everyone loves you until you reach a certain point, and until you become the villain, or you become so.
Live long enough
Yes,
long enough to see yourself become the villain.
yeah, yes. Live long enough as the hero to see yourself become the villain. Is this finally happened?
So
Is Mike
like
Gundy? Yeah.
his hero arc, you're saying is like I'm a man, I'm 40s, that kind of when and then he did the mullet,
Yeah,
and then he
and the mullet, and always talking shit, speaking his mind, and now now he basically said, like, last year, he's like, oh, DUI is not bad. I drive drunk all the time. Remember
Yeah,
that?
he did
And,
say
and
that.
now and now he's like just like mad because he doesn't like morally believe in spending NIL money, even though like I guarantee Oklahoma State has plenty of money to go compete if they want to.
Yeah, they have T Boone
T Boone,
Pickens. I mean,
T
that's
Boone
the
Pickens,
guy.
yeah, the
He's the
richest guy in the
guy.
world, pretty much.
Um, it is kind of crazy. He's done what kind of I feel like a lot of college football coaches who are in one place for a long. They kind of just go a little crazy. Like I feel like he's just kind of gone a little crazy. That I'm a man 40. I'm 40 rant was in 2007. Like it's
Right.
been 18 years since that happened, and
It
it
was a
feels
great
like
rant. It's probably like my all-time favorite thing.
yeah,
But right.
it's garbage. It was garbage what they were doing to those kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Come after me.
I think the other thing that's happened is they haven't been good the past few years.
Right.
Oklahoma State, for a lot of his tenure there, was a team that like they were never elite, but they were always good, and they've
And
kind of not been
they
good.
always seem to exceed their expectations, have like a giant upset at the end of the year. They were like they were a team you really respected.
Yeah, and they had big name play, like they had a few players come through there, and like so you were always had somebody to watch, and they've just kind of been lagging in that. And I think it might have started too. I think they felt left out when the like all those teams went from the Big 12 to the SEC and uh to the
Right.
Big
Right.
10. Like so I think they kind of got a complex during that, that they weren't. I think a few teams that are in the Big 12 too kind of have that complex where they feel like kind of an inferiority complex, especially to Oklahoma. So I think
Right.
that kind of has changed the public image of them in general. The fact that they haven't been good and they've kind of like acted like kind of like little inferiority complex little brats at times.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what's happened with them. But yeah, I mean he's been there 20 years at this point.
Yeah, true.
Um,
True. They picked a bad time to suddenly just not be ultra competitive like they always were because you
yeah, because it opened up for him.
they would have been in the top 12 a bunch the last decade, but
Yeah, no, if you took their teams and put them in the conference they're currently in with the teams they're currently like they probably have five, six, seven Big 12 championships. They have a couple
yeah,
playoff appearances.
it's pretty
So
brutal timing. So
but and I saw it actually kind of at Michigan State too. It comes to a point where it's also really hard to get rid of him because he's so synonymous with the program at this point. We saw
right,
that with Mark D'Antonio. Um, when we had him, it was kind of like he probably was there a year or two longer than he probably should have been just because of what he had done for the program.
yeah, no,
So I think they're kind of in that spot with him too. But I mean, complaining about the NIL, like that's what you're in. It's like if
right. I, I'm saying if you're 29-point underdogs to another Power Four team, which they are this week,
yeah.
I mean, that's just that is falling off a cliff in terms of what I've come to expect from Oklahoma State. Like there's no way they'd be more than a touchdown dog the last decade to a good team, but now it's just kind of sad, I guess. And now I wish Gundy would shut up. I feel like he's embarrassing himself. That's all I'm saying, really.
No, it's a game that like Oklahoma State Oregon should be a marquee matchup, and it's an afterthought because of kind of the way that Oklahoma State program has gone down the past few years.
Yeah,
Um, and his views on NIL and spending money like kind of explain why they've gone downhill. Like
right. This is the
it
climate you're in. You got to deal with it. There's
right,
no
right.
you're not gonna stop it by putting on some sunglasses and just talking in like a yokel.
Well, yeah, and like if it bothers you honestly that much, like I'm sure you can go coach at Stillwater High. Like,
Right. You'll be well received there.
yeah,
No, not a lot of pressure.
yeah. So I mean that's kind of where I am with him. But yeah, I do like the Batman analogy because it is
Right.
kind of he has
Right.
he's on that
I
arc. He's had that arc.
I absolutely butchered the quote, but you picked me up when I was falling, so I
Good.
appreciate
That's
that.
what we're here for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, speaking of butchering,
Yes.
We're gonna start. We're gonna go over what happened week one. We're gonna go chronologically. And I just wanted to touch on it quick, not because I was all over it, but I was all over it. It started Thursday night with Southern Florida just putting a whooping on Boise State, and Byron Brown introducing himself to the United States of America, having a monster game, and USF just I thought up and down the field kind of was dominant the whole time. It was really never in doubt, that game, and I think USF's made a case for them to be considered definitely in that group of five, a team that could make the playoff.
Yeah, Jared Zabransky ain't walking through that door. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's not.
That it was a tough one for Boise State. They looked like a team that had just lost a 2,700-yard rusher. To be quite frank,
They did.
South Florida. You know, it's kind of ironic because last year I was the big South Florida guy. I was like, this is the team that's going to represent
Well,
the
Byron Brown got hurt.
right. I guess I didn't really register that. I just was mad at them last year for underachieving. But yeah, I thought they would represent. I thought they would be the 12th team in the bracket last year. Now it looks like they have a legit shot this year, though.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be them and come down to them and a couple more. But and I did put just a little sprinkle on Byron Brown for Heisman because he is plus 15,000. So, and I
Love it.
think his team's going to have an opportunity to play in some big games. I mean, they play in a big one this weekend when they take on Florida. We're going to talk about that a little bit later.
I
But
like that you called them Southern Florida too. I think we should pivot to that.
yeah, I guess they are South Florida, right?
I prefer we're gonna the Southern Florida Bulls. We're gonna go with that from now on. I like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
It's been declared. So that was our Thursday night. That was the big one Thursday night. We also had Nebraska getting by Cincinnati. Um, a game that just was a preview of every Chiefs game for this foreseeable future with how much they just showed all Mahomes, Taylor Swift, Kelsey, the Mahomes wife, who is just insufferable.
Right.
So much of that. I mean, it was barely you barely knew what teams were playing the game because they were just insistent on showing that. But
Like an
Nebraska,
episode of The Hunting Wives.
yeah. um, but Nebraska came away with the win in that. It was probably a little closer than they would have liked. But Cincinnati's not a bad team. And that was
Cincinnati
supposed.
got real greedy, throwing an aggressive fade to try to win the game into double coverage. The quarterback
Yeah.
just threw it up. He didn't make a read. He just tossed that thing up, and
No.
did not work out for them. Good game. I'm happy Nebraska won though because I know they're Jack High's second favorite team.
Yeah, they are special. I spent a few years out in Lincoln. It is. I mean, they love their football. They love, as you saw. I mean, that was it's supposed to be a Cincinnati home game. It got moved to Kansas City, and that was a Sea of Nebraska red. That was a Nebraska home game.
Yeah.
It was a very pro Nebraska crowd. I had a friend actually who went to the game and sent me a picture, and they were sitting in gridlock traffic 70 miles from the stadium with all the Nebraska people going down for that game.
Can we stop doing the goofy thing where we put the game in a neutral site and then say one of the teams is the home team? Like they said
So
that was the Cincinnati home game. It's total nonsense.
it got moved. So it was supposed to be at Cincinnati, and then they moved it. I forget where it was going to be. It might have been in Cleveland, maybe. I don't.
Sure,
I forget where
sure.
they were going to move, and then it
The
went to
Bengals
Kansas
Stadium, maybe
City.
the Bengals Stadium. Who knows?
It might have been, yeah. So, and for some reason they couldn't play there, so it ended up being in Kansas City. And yeah, the thing that sucks is like if you're a Cincinnati season ticket holder, that is a home game for you. Like that counts as one of your home games. So, a little bit of a jip in that scenario.
Yep.
But champagne problems.
Great,
But
great old school word for the for the show. I've also heard. I've also gotten some pushback on podcast lately too. Because technically,
Well,
This is
podcast represents an iPod, and nobody has an iPod anymore. So we're really going to be upset about it
I don't know. I've been getting pushback from people we know personally, Bass Pro Shops people that we know personally, and
about calling it a podcast.
right, like
What do we want? Like an internet
show,
show?
show. Uh, I've been told repeatedly, beaten over the head with it. Not a podcast. Stop calling it a podcast. Whatever. CFP was too clever of a
Yeah. So our it should be
yeah.
CFIS,
CFP, yeah,
CFIS.
internet show. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's
But
not a
what?
show either. Like
Right, but yeah,
show is like a network show. We're not like
right. It's
we're
just two guys yelling at the void because we enjoy talking about this stuff.
like I feel like it's more insulting to call it a show. Like we're not
Yeah,
putting on a
I
show.
think
Like
so.
we're talking. Podcast
CFC,
is people
college football
talking.
conversation.
Let's get rid of the whole word podcast then because nobody uses iPods anymore.
Right. No, the whole thing should be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
So
crazy.
you do have a problem with the
The
goofy?
thing that Bass Pro Shop people have time to worry about, yet they don't have time to do other like much simpler tasks is crazy.
Yeah. Right. Like just make up a freaking pretend playoff bracket. But
Anything.
anything. But so you do have a problem
Phil
with
would do it.
the goofy home games or not? Like
Yeah, I think it's
Kansas
stupid.
State was a home game in Ireland.
So I think that's just somebody has to be the home team. It's the same reason when you like go to an NCAA tournament in New York, there's a Princeton logo on the court because technically they're the host, even though they're not even like in the tournament. It's just somebody's got to be the home team. Somebody, I think it more matters for like the production and like the game day. Like it's who's in charge of like making
Right.
sure that everything is like on the field and they have.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think it's more in that sense.
Okay.
But
That's
it
fair, I
does
guess.
count. But I mean, if I'm a team, I much rather like if I'm Cincinnati, I much rather play that game at my home stadium than in Kansas City, on a quote unquote neutral site that's just 70,000 Nebraska fans.
I'm
Like
just
I think
saying
that
when the end of the year when it says you're 4-2 at home and one of the losses was a game in Ireland, it's gonna
I
be
don't think that I don't think it counts in that sense. Like I think
okay.
if you looked
Okay.
at it right now, Cincinnati would be 0-1 on a neutral site. I think is how it would read.
Okay. Well,
I think it
we're gonna
only counts as a home game in terms of like ticketing and shit like that.
okay. That I'll give you that. Let's see here. Big 12 conference, Cincinnati Bearcats. Okay, you're right. You're right. It's not okay. You're right. I can temper my
I like the passion though.
yeah
That's
yeah.
that's podcast passion right there.
And
I'm gonna
what
beat this podcast word into submission now.
well obviously what is the controlling brand in Nebraska? Is it Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's?
It is
The third party?
I don't know. There's a Cabela's. I don't know if there's Bass Pro Shop. There's a Menards is a big outdoor brand out there.
Menard.
When the last year I worked there, a guy stole a cop car and he was just driving around Menards, and then he got out and took like a bulldozer and was driving. Yeah, it was crazy. But
Okay.
Menards is a big outdoor shop there. Um, yeah, it's but I think that I know of a Cabela's. I don't know of any Bass Pro Shops there. I didn't frequent many of either, so um Shields is a big outdoor store in Nebraska and the Dakotas as well. Shields. They
Have
have
you
like
ever
a
heard?
big Ferris wheel inside of the store.
Right.
It's kind of crazy.
That's gonna be a big store.
It's massive. Yeah.
Have you heard of Marvin Heemeyer?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the bulldozer thing reminded me. He like he was angry at a small town in Colorado for like some zoning permits and shit, and he had other terrible stuff going on in his life, like a divorce and like debt and stuff. He was like a contractor or
It's
something.
the perfect storm of circumstance.
He outfitted this bulldozer to be like a tank and like armor plated like in secret in a warehouse. Like that, look it up sometime. It's called the Killdozer. Uh he Yeah, it's he basically went on a 17-hour rampage through the town, just in this thing, impenetrable to bullets.
Destroying property or people, or
I don't
both.
think anyone actually died, other than he did end his own life at the end. But yeah,
It's kind of like no harm, no foul at that point.
right. I don't think anyone, but he did cause an extreme amount of property damage, though.
That's what insurance is for.
Yeah, but you should check. Yeah, true. You should check it out. Read about it later.
Okay.
Marvin Heemeyer, the Killdozer.
It was
No one's
like
gonna
that.
watch this, but no one's gonna watch this. But I think if they did watch this internet show with friends, ISWF, they would actually enjoy what we're all this
I think they
nonsense.
would too. I
Yeah.
watched the crazy documentary on Netflix yesterday. That Unknown Number one
Oh
was
yeah, my
insane.
Jane Public was describing it to me. I didn't watch it. She said it was. She
Oh,
described it to me. Totally insane.
if you
One of the
want to
most.
know who the craziest person that's ever lived was, watch that documentary because
Yeah.
you'll meet him.
Yeah, the
It's
mom.
insane.
Yeah, the mom.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
no one's watching. No one's. Not even Bass Pro Shops are watching the guys. Not even the guys we met in
No, it
the.
is. It is. There is no tit for tat because I watch the Bass Pro Shops and I think it's awesome actually. And
Right.
the Bass Pro Shops don't tune into us or sponsor our program.
It's
But
okay. It's okay.
it's been 20 minutes and we have talked about South Florida and Boise State. So we should get going so that we don't delay the Bass Pro Shops later.
It's a good point. Good point.
Chronologically here, I did want to touch on Friday night. We had Colorado and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech coming away with that victory. A
That was one
nice
of my
little.
best bets. That was one of
It
my best bets.
was. It was a cover. They covered at the end.
It's a
And they.
lucky ass cover, but yeah,
It was a very lucky ass cover, but it was a cover because Haynes King is a warrior.
that
That
guy's the man.
guy.
That guy's the
He's
man.
either like the greatest actor because he's just constantly hurt and then the ball snapped and he's awesome.
Right.
And yeah, just finding holes, running all over Colorado. And I thought the Georgia Tech offensive line was really good too. I thought they, especially towards the end of the game, were very dominant over the Colorado line.
Is it too early to call that team Captain Underpants? Haynes? Or the Underpants brothers or something. I mean, it's a little weird, but I mean,
think there's something there.
Yeah, I think we got something here.
It is spelled different, but
yeah, well, whatever.
It's just a matter of a why.
Right.
The other thing I took away from that game is, especially in the fourth quarter, Deion Sanders looked like he wanted to be anywhere but on that sideline.
Yes,
and
you
then
and I spoke about this. Yes.
We did speak about this. He had his mic up, wasn't talking to anybody, looked like a deer in headlights, and then they get the ball back with like a minute left and 2 timeouts, and maybe the worst clock management I've ever seen.
It's unbelievable how bad it was. They had
And they still all, I mean,
two timeouts.
Yeah, and they didn't use any of them.
No, they didn't stop the clock. They let the clock run twice. They wasted at least 35, 40 seconds. If they had done good clock management, they wouldn't have had to throw a 55-yard Hail Mary. They would have had.
But he still almost completed. If the receiver was looking the right way, he might have completed the first one.
That was dangerous. The first throw was great. It really.
Yeah.
Also, how did they let him get behind the coverage was incredible. But
that was crazy. But yeah, I
don't
know.
Deion looked very checked out. I don't think he's doing 100% health wise. So.
Well, yeah, to be expected. He had a very kind of crazy offseason, and we do wish him the best health wise.
Yeah.
I mean, a legend in the game, but yeah, he looked checked out. He didn't look. It was just weird.
Before the final play, in between the Hail Marys, because there were 2 of them, kind of.
Yeah.
He took off his full headset and handed it to his assistant. That is not the message to show your team. When there's still a play in the game and you can still tie the game. That was a little bit alarming.
No, it was essentially waving the white flag before the final play happened. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, like you said, the body language was very troubling.
Yeah. And then the other Friday night game, it was one of my best bets, and that hit. I had the over in the Baylor-Auburn game. I thought Jackson Arnold looked awesome for Auburn. I think
Yeah,
Auburn's going to be a real team in the SEC this year. And I left not feeling that bad about Baylor either. Um, I thought I think they're going to be fine in the Big 12.
yeah.
I think
They
this
got to
game
win
was,
this week, though.
they do, they have to. They're actually they're underdogs in that game, which I think is crazy personally.
Yeah,
But
they've got a tough game. Yeah,
I thought I thought it was more about how good Auburn was and not as much about Baylor. I just thought Auburn looked really good. They
yeah,
looked like they're on par with anybody. I mean, Jackson Arnold was using his feet. Those receivers that they have over there at Auburn are elite. I think Auburn's going to be a problem in the SEC this year.
yeah. You were right. You were right about them. You were right about both those teams. Kind of, they both offenses looked pretty good. Auburn just did more, got the kick return for the touchdown, and got a stop or two. But
Well,
there wasn't too much between those teams.
it was a over that looked dead in the first quarter. You had Baylor with two possessions inside first and goal, and they
Right.
got 3 points out of the whole thing. Like and I think that I mean that obviously came back to bite them later in the game because they could have used those points for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was a fun. I thought offensive wise and just watching wise, I thought it was one of the more fun games to watch of the weekend.
Yeah, totally
Um,
agree.
so then we move on to Saturday. And Saturday started in Columbus with
Yes. Yes.
with a
With a ball game.
a defensive masterclass, I guess we could say, in
Yeah.
some sense, as Ohio State takes down Texas. And I'll kind of just let you rant on this one, or not rant, but just give us how the Texas fans are feeling.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not really a rant. It's like it's just kind of like how am I feeling? Well, obviously disappointed. The high expectations. I was trying not to completely buy into the art. Actually, you know what? I wasn't as hyped as the rest of the world about Arch. I thought, you know, this guy's gonna be good, but let's pump the brakes here. He gotta prove it a little bit. So I wasn't surprised that he struggled. He certainly looked a lot more capable as the game wore on, but the final drive, he kind of reverted back to some of his issues throughout the game. Um, I wish that we lived in a more patient world where like they wouldn't be posting all this really mean, nasty stuff right after and like uh saying calling him a bust, saying he's ass and stuff like
yeah,
that. And it just you played the defending national champions on the road, extremely good defense, and he didn't play well. And it's just a game. You lost. You had a chance to go tie the game at the end. It didn't happen. Both defenses were awesome. It's a tough environment for your first. I mean, yeah, you made two career starts. They weren't against good teams last year. It's your first real test. So I'm not overreacting to it. I think there's plenty of time to grow. I think maybe it could end up being a good thing for him personally to have this adversity, to have the hype and the expectations come plummeting down immediately. That might actually be good. Um, Texas is going to have a tough schedule. There'll be plenty of tests for Arch coming up, and we'll see how he handles them. A lot of people hammering away at how bad he was. He made some real good throws in the second half. Um, the game started off, he had a wide open guy on a little play action pull and just missed him. And that kind of set the tone for a lot of the game um, with his struggles. He didn't look like the scrambler that we've been told he was. He looked a little sluggish. He looked a little slow on some of his decision making. His reads, he was late on a lot of throws. But I mean, this is an elite level defense. Matt Patricia, who's got a ton of experience, including Super Bowl winning Patriots team as a defensive coordinator, um, really, I think he kind of got in his head, or kind of just, I think he had a great scheme. Um, my biggest takeaway from this is Steve Sarkisian, who's somehow avoiding all criticism because it's all being piled on Arch. Steve Sarkisian cannot call a big game. He's James Franklin, but it's even worse because he's actually in control of the play call. He gets to a big game and just melts. He calls these conservative game plans. Everyone says he's this play calling genius. I didn't see anything there. Let's try to establish the run and then make our young quarterback have 3rd and 6 every single time. I mean, that's a lot to do. That's a lot to deal with for Arch. He wasn't put in the best positions to play well. Sarkisian repeatedly does this. He can't play call from inside the 10-yard line. That's just a fact at this point. Texas was actually alarmingly bad inside the red zone last year, despite being a really good team. And the last 2 seasons have ended at the goal line with Sark calling some questionable plays. And that was really the game. 2 times inside the 10, we couldn't score in that Ohio State game. That really made the game. All these criticisms could be washed away. Could have easily won 17-14 or 21-14. Our defense was awesome. But, it didn't work out. I'm pretty well conditioned as a Texas fan for the big games not to work out. So I'm just going to buckle up, and the next 3 weeks should be pretty cakewalk, and then get ready for that Florida game. So I'm not overreacting. I think Ohio State has a great team. I really was quite impressed by their freshman quarterback as well, or maybe, I don't think he's a freshman, but first time starting quarterback. I thought he
He's a
played nice.
red shirt freshman.
I thought he played nicely, and I think Ohio State ultimately did deserve to win. But I want there to be more heat on Sarkisian than Manning for this performance.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on everything that I kind of took away from this game as well. I think the overreacting is, I mean, it's just kind of the society we live in, but it is crazy. It is frustrating. Um, I agree with you there. That my 2 biggest takeaways is, I think you mentioned Matt Patricia. He's a 3-time Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, and I think the kind of the way you saw Arch reacting slowly and making slow decisions, I think had a lot to do with what Patricia was showing him and then taking away. So I think that, coupled with just the fact that Ohio State has an elite defense. I mean, Caleb Downs is maybe the best player in the country, or defensive or not. I mean, he's a safety that's just all over the place, made a ton of plays. So I think that, and then I agree with you wholeheartedly with Sark's play calling. It was almost like they were playing somebody the week before they played Ohio State, and he didn't want to give everything away. It
They were
was super vanilla, super like,
they
I don't trust him.
being the quarterback too. Like the play calling was like, yeah, he opened it up a little bit at the beginning, and then Arch didn't execute. So he was like, all right, put the training wheels back on. Let's not. That's not the way you instill confidence in a tough environment in a guy. You got to keep giving. You got to keep letting him rip it. And then when it was too late, he's like, okay, well, now you got to rip it. It was an awful job by Steve Sarkisian. Sorry to cut you off. I'm just fired up about it.
No, he didn't do his quarterback any favors, and I agree that he's kind of skating, and a lot of this is going on Arch, when I think that there is a lion's share of blame that he could be taking too. So that was kind of my 2 takeaways from that game. Julian Saying, I thought, was good. He has really good receivers. Ohio State's going to be really good. It's hard. It's hard when the only kind of test you have is these 2 teams playing each other, because you don't know, like,
Right.
it's hard to take things away because you don't know just how elite that Ohio State and that Texas defense are. Like, you don't know
That
what
may
they're
have
going to go
been
against.
the best 2 teams in the country's playing. We don't know.
It may have been, yeah, especially on defense. I mean, both of those teams,
Yeah.
they're gonna cause a lot of problems for everybody they play.
I am curious to see if Ohio State's run game can handle some of the bigger tests this year, because it didn't look very good. I don't know if that's a product of Texas's front 7 or if it's a product of losing Judkins and Henderson. But the Indiana transfer kid, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I think that, and again, it's hard to know because we haven't
Right.
seen him against anybody. But I would have I would feel more that has to do with Texas and how good that front 7 is.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And that's it's a good offensive line, but two of those guys are transfers, so it's that offensive line's first time playing together. So, and they're going against the best front seven in the country.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best front sevens in the country, if not the best. So I think that had a lot to do with that. I would expect their running game to be a little bit better, a lot better as the season progresses.
All right.
Um,
Now it's time for a now it's time for me to, yeah, this show's gonna last a while, whatever. It's time for me to ask you a question. What's your take on Lee Corso? Is this like a guy that you revere? Is this a guy who has like a place in your heart, or do you kind of have you kind of found him to be a clown over the years?
so maybe I'm just like not old enough to like get the peak Lee Corso or something, but I feel like I did. I was never really a Lee Corso fan.
Yeah,
Um
me neither.
it was just kind of hard and like kind of watching them parade his like corpse around this
Right.
weekend and like it
Yeah,
felt
it was
very like
weird.
weekend at Bernie's kind of like it was odd.
It was like the
Um
final year of the Biden presidency.
yeah. Yeah, no, I like it's not a crazy comparison. And you had like Herb Street playing the Kamala role, where he's
Right.
like pretending that he's like his guy, but secretly like and like you can prove it. Like there were pictures they made Lee Corso fly Southwest to that game. Kirk
Right.
Herbstreit takes a private plane with his dog to ever like Lee couldn't have hopped on the private plane for such a
Yeah.
good friend. Like
Right. Right.
I don't know. I think
This
that
guy's
they
right.
all played him up. They've kind of propped him up for a few years to
Yeah,
use
he's not
him.
like doing well physically, and
No,
he's not great at talking. And like, there's nothing wrong with Lee Corso. He's just a guy. But
no. I like I've always he's obviously he's been a shell of himself for probably 3 to 4 years at this point.
right.
I mean, I watched him growing up. Obviously, I mean, College Game Day was College Game Day,
Right.
but
Sure.
he was kind of like Stephen A. Smith before Stephen A. Smith, where he would just kind of yell, and have takes that were kind of crazy,
Right.
and then he would put on a mascot head, and everybody would go crazy.
I'm just
Um,
saying, when the final send off is the man, the 80-year-old man who I'm pretty sure they're forcing to retire. I don't think he's like fully aware of what's going on,
I don't either. No.
and I don't even know if he knows he retired. But I hate to say that, but it was just everyone's cheering, everyone's talking about like how cool a moment it was, how great it was, and stuff. I was cringing when I watched the TV. It's just this old guy. It put that it just and he's doing. It was very. It made me uncomfortable.
It did.
Very.
I am right there with you.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
a hundred
Yeah.
percent. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The weekend at Bernie's analogy is great. It felt it, and Kurt's like Kirk is like patting the side of Brutus's head. It it was really weird.
It was weird. It was weird. It's actually the downfall of Lee Corso has made me kind of dislike Kirk Herbstreit more. Like I used to like Kirk Herbstreit more than I do now because I feel like he's kind of I don't know.
Oh, he's the Batman quote
Yeah,
in my mind. Like he's gone full circle. Like kind of exposed himself as being so self interested. Like
well, and it was horrible when his dog passed away. Like I
yeah,
get it, but for
right,
2 weeks we were like everything was about this guy's dog, and I was watching
right,
him cry on TV about his dog, and like he's very self
yeah,
righteous, and
super
yeah,
self curious. Like to dumb it down, he sniffs his own farts.
he
Uh,
does, he
uh,
does.
and yeah, let's be real. Like the dog thing was sad, and he got a lot of public like yeah credit for that whole scenario. And then 7 seconds after they ran the piece, after they ran the sad piece, like it was like a Jeremy Schaap piece, except Kirk was doing his own voiceover on it. And 7 seconds after they revealed a new dog
Yeah,
that would looked exactly the same
what it was the same dog. Yeah,
it's basically it was like it was like when it was like the Kanye West like wife factory, like oh this one, I'm going to murder this one. Here's his
Yeah.
exact same wife. You know,
Yeah.
it was uncomfortable.
It was. It was really like I've lost a pet in like the past
Right.
year or whatever, and like it was a couple months before I was like, all right, like I'm ready. Like it just felt very weird, and
Too fast for the dog to show.
it was way too fast to move on. It's like going to your wife, your ex, your like it's your wife dies, and you show up at her funeral with your new girlfriend. Like it was very weird.
Yeah, you got to let it breathe a bit, buddy.
You do,
Uh,
you do. Even if you don't feel it, just you're a public figure,
Right.
just do it.
Even if you do get the dog immediately after, which I have no problem with, do not like do the 10-minute sad story on college game day. And then as soon as the sad story is done airing, that piece is done airing, the new dog is sitting next to you. You
Yeah,
can't do it that way.
no.
You can have that dog at home, but you get, I think
Uh,
I think we beat a dead dog to death here on this one. But
all right. Next up, I think we saw the end of a dynasty. I think the Alabama that we grew up with, I think it's dead. Florida State just absolutely out toughed. I mean, they
throttle.
dominated the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Tommy Costello backed up everything he said in this offseason about Alabama. Ty Simpson did not look like the guy.
At all.
Although, I mean, he was under pressure from his O line being so bad.
Yeah, but it was the number one ranked offensive line coming into the season by Pro Football Focus, who obviously doesn't know anything. That's become pretty blatantly obvious.
Yeah,
But
I'd rather listen to College Football Focus for that.
right, you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
guess I don't. Whatever. I read that it was supposed to be the top
No,
unit.
they were very highly ranked. Yeah,
Yeah, they did not look
they
like it
looked
at all.
terrible.
They looked terrible. I believe Tommy Costello is like a Goodfellas character, but Tommy Castellanos was awesome. Um,
Yeah, you're right.
and
I just watched The Departed 2 days ago, and
is
that
this because one of our
is
Bass Pro Shop guys was
100%.
saying he was Italian too? That's probably why.
Yeah, one of our best pro shops guy had no idea that he was not just some white Italian kid
Yeah,
until he
I
saw
know.
the game.
It's pretty funny. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
what a difference. I mean, I actually like was really happy for Norvell and Castellanos in Florida. The crowd was going nuts. It was awesome. It was actually an awesome game.
No, it was very cool, and I mean, Kalen DeBoer, he took up an impossible task,
Right.
taking over for Saban. And what Saban was able to do is Saban was able to get those 5-star superstar guys, but make them play like dogs and like make them play hungry. And
Right.
DeBoer's just getting those guys, and they're just they look disinterested. They look like they don't
They
care.
look
Like
like they're waiting to make the NFL.
yeah, like this is just wasting their time before they can play on Sunday. You're right. That's exactly what they look like.
Yeah.
So I think Alabama has a real problem right now. And I think a
Absolutely.
big thing that killed Alabama too is the NIL. I think those 3 letters, and I think Saban saw that, spelled a lot of doom for Alabama because I think they were doing things that are now legal before they were legal, and
Right.
had a little advantage that has now been taken away. But yeah,
No,
uh, I thought the Seminoles looked great, and all of a sudden, the ACC doesn't look like such of a cakewalk anymore.
no. And let's make one thing quite clear. It is hard to follow in the footsteps of, I don't think it's an argument, the greatest college football coach of all time. I don't even think
Yeah,
it's close. I don't even think it's close.
no,
Um, it's hard to do that. And if you don't at least nearly approach the same standard, you're going to be criticized heavily. But this is not, he's not even approaching the
no,
standard.
no,
This is the craziest stat I've ever, one of the craziest stats I've ever seen. Nick Saban's entire Alabama tenure, he lost 3 games as a 14-point favorite. Okay. And that's what, I don't know, almost 20 years probably.
I think it was like 138, and I thought I saw two, but a
I think
good
it was
number.
139 and 3 or something.
Okay, yeah,
And Kalen DeBoer has already lost 4
yeah,
games
he's
as a
4-4
14.
now.
Yeah, he's coached like 15 games now total, and he is it's been really bad.
And I think like I saw another one where like Saban lost to like three unranked opponents or something like that,
Right.
and Norvell's already lost to four.
Right,
Uh,
I could be conflating the stats, but
but
the point
there's a
remains.
ton of stats like that because Saban was a legend,
Right.
and DeBoer taking this. I mean, Kalen DeBoer could have sat in Seattle and run that Washington
The next
program for
decade. Yeah.
20 years
Yeah.
and been happy, probably maybe got a championship, got a ton of playoff appearances. He could have just done that, but he chased the money. And the other thing about him is like, you look at him, he's just not, that's not an SEC guy. You
That's n
know, like
No,
he's
no.
just not an SEC guy. He's a West Coast guy.
He doesn't have alcohol face. He doesn't have like really sweaty I'm gonna actually kill the student athlete face. He's got none of that.
Yeah, he doesn't.
There's no Hugh Freeze in him. There's no Bobby Petrino in him.
And
It
there's
doesn't
not
fit.
even like Shane Beamer, where like I'm just ultra positive and I'm just gonna thank
Right.
God for everything. And like he doesn't even have
Right.
that for him. Like
Edge
he doesn't
Orgeron,
have, yeah, he doesn't have, and he doesn't even have like the Brian Kelly smugness. Like he's just kind of a West Coast laid back dude
right.
who is in charge of the most rabid, crazy, unforgiving fan base in college football. And I
Even
just don't think it's a good fit.
Lane Kiffin's a West Coast guy, but he's such a smug, entitled asshole that he actually has
Yeah.
made it work over there.
Well, and he owns it. Yeah,
Right.
he found the perfect place to be it. Like he fits at Ole Miss. Like he fits in with those like used to make our money and not have to pay our workers type of people. Like he
Right.
just fits in with those types.
Did you
Like
did you see did you see the meme? The meme about DeBoer? It showed
no.
a side by side of Saban's office and DeBoer's office. And Saban had this like old school, it looked like a drawing room, like a place you'd go to shoot the shit, uh, talk about how superior you are to everyone else and have like some whiskeys. And DeBoer's looked like a modernized, and the meme said, "This is what happens when you turn Alabama's head coaching office into the Verizon store."
Yeah, it's just oh man, it's just it doesn't fit. So
Nah,
it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes for them because I mean it doesn't get any easier for them as we're going
no,
to go through this
it's a
season.
tough schedule. I do think Florida State's. I mean, they completely reset the whole thing.
Yeah. So
And how bad is DJ Ugalele?
I think it just proves he's pretty bad.
Right.
It also proves how much of a not fit Castellanos was at BC under O'Brien's system last year because that guy was getting benched last year at BC.
No way.
Like
Yeah. Right.
that's crazy.
Talking
Also,
to the Tommy was talking to the media, and Bill O'Brien's a no nonsense guy. So
yeah,
yeah,
no, it just was a bad fit.
yeah, it was. It was.
But he looks great. He's another guy I sprinkled a little Heisman money on
Yeah.
this weekend because he
Yeah.
still had really good odds. So, and then the final, speaking of the ACC, final game of Saturday. Uh, yeah, LSU went in and second half. It was even first half, but the second half, I thought LSU was the much superior team. I thought they could have won. They ended up winning what 17-10. I thought it could have easily been 27-10 or a little bit more.
For a
Um,
team that hasn't been able to play defense in years, what a statement.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And then after the game, Dabo kind of looking like an idiot, saying that they both played terrible. And I did like Brian Kelly saying he just didn't watch the second half. Like I love that he didn't take it. I'm not a huge Brian Kelly fan. He's a murderer, but I did like his reaction to
He
that.
he, he is a murderer, and he's completely tone deaf guy with the rotating screen video and the my family. But I because as we found out on last week's show, on last week's talk, um,
Cast on
I'm a
last
Notre
week's cast.
Yeah, I'm a Notre Dame dude. I'm a Notre Dame dude. They're like probably my second or third team I root for. And so I got this weird soft spot for Brian Kelly, even though he's a despicable human being. Like I want him to do well here. Probably me and the entire state of Louisiana are the only people in the world who can say that. But um, I was pleased. I also think he does fit, like you said, he fits the SEC coach mold well enough.
Yeah, everything but the accent. He's just he's a guy who is from Everett, Massachusetts, but should have been from, you know,
Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia,
Yeah,
running a
yeah.
farm. Um,
What did you think was the distinguishing divide between these teams in the game? Because I have my opinion.
I thought Nussmeier figured out Clemson a lot quicker and better than Klubnik was able to figure out LSU.
That's the
I
answer.
thought I thought Nussmeier just looked superior.
That,
He
that's
looked
the,
like the best quarterback in the country.
that's the answer. He looked at for a team that only scored 17 points. He looked incredible.
Yeah,
I can't. I don't. He looked in full command. He looked like a professional quarterback.
yeah, he did.
I was extremely impressed.
Yeah,
Klubnik looked like a guy who regressed a full season somehow.
yeah, I agree. Well, he looked like who he looked like at the beginning of last season.
Right. Exactly.
Because he wasn't the guy everybody the first 8 weeks of the season, nobody, and then all of a sudden he looked a lot better and people were talking about him, and then going into this year he had a lot of hype about him. I mean, I picked him to be the damn Heisman Trophy winner, and he didn't look like that. So
No.
um I,
No.
I I think Clemson will figure it out. The ACC is not going to be as easy as it appeared to be before the season. I mean, Florida State looks as good as anybody after 1 week, and then the team we're about to talk about, the final game, Sunday night, Miami taking care of Notre Dame. 27-24 was the final. A
Yeah.
couple of takeaways. Talking about, like we were just
Does
talking.
it ever bother you that the duck isn't wearing pants?
No, I mean ducks don't wear pants.
They don't wear shirts either.
Yeah, they're also don't have like human qualities to them.
Well,
Um,
human qualities include wearing pants.
it's also we're calling it a duck. I don't believe it's a duck. I think it's a
Is it a
pelican.
heron? It's a
It might be a
pelican. It's a
heron. It
pelican.
might be a pelican.
Yeah, it's probably not a duck. You're right.
The beak's throwing me. I mean, that's also Chat GPT's.
No, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. That is accurate. What it looks like. The tail is a duck. The beak is. You don't usually see those kind of beaks on ducks.
It's tough.
Anyway, I cut you off, so get back to what you're saying.
I don't remember what I'm
It
saying.
disturbed me a little bit.
The things that fit. Something that fits. Carson Beck at Miami just fits.
Unfortunately, yeah.
He looks like the Miami quarterback. Like he acts like
He
the
does.
Miami quarterback. Like no, I don't know if anybody's been more Miami quarterback than Carson Beck
I
was.
borderline liked him after the game.
Yeah, because it also showed how little he was. Like that was like Kalen DeBoer trying to fit in when he was at Georgia. Like he
Right.
was not the Georgia quarterback. Like that's not what. Like he was following Stetson Bennett. Like you could not have been less like Stetson Bennett as Carson
Right.
Beck.
Right.
I think he's a much better fit at Miami, and Miami has some athletes. That offensive line is good. They got some guys who can flat out go up and get the ball at receiver. I thought Miami was really impressive. The way they took care of what I think is still a very good Notre Dame team. Notre Dame showed a lot of fight kind of at the end, coming back like that.
Yeah.
But
Carr impressed me
I
at the
thought it was
end.
a really good game.
CJ Carr impressed me at the end. He was pretty bad in the first half, but he impressed me at the end of the game.
Yeah,
So.
no, I mean, again, that's a true freshman playing their first game at Miami. Like that's a tough spot to be in. And I was very down on CJ Carr. I actually left that game feeling better about him than I had going into it,
Yeah.
despite kind of the way he went.
Quite an atmosphere there in Florida. It was a fun football game.
Well, yeah, and I mean it's a stadium that gets a lot of shit because it's not the best home field advantage. It is 45 minutes from the campus. Like it doesn't always have that, but it was rocking. No pun intended. Hard Rock Stadium
Right.
on Sunday night. And it really all kind of changed, I thought, with what very easily could have been a half-ending interception in the end zone thrown by Carson Beck at the end of
Right.
that first half, and the I didn't write down the name, it's escaping, but just goes up and makes a hell of a
Insane.
catch.
Insane.
Just goes way up and gets it. I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody was more excited about it than Michael Irvin was when he got to the sideline. I don't know if you saw that. He
Right.
was all over him. But and that I think that just was a huge moment in what could have been. I mean, because he's going back, he's throwing off his back foot. Like it's not a throw that you probably want him to make, but his
Yeah,
receiver goes up and makes a play.
that fits into your archetype, the Miami quarterback archetype that you need the swaggy gunslinger. You
Yeah.
do. It
Mhm.
didn't fit at Georgia. Um, when he was bad, it like was embarrassing. Now I feel like he can just kind of go out and just yeah, it's just the perfect fit, unfortunately. Because I don't like him, but now I kind of I'm it's his stock's rising for me a little bit. Uh,
So
the
you
big
talked about growing up with like Notre Dame was your second. Like I grew up, Miami was my second team. I loved
Yeah,
Miami growing up.
fair enough. Well, my big takeaway from this weekend is not overreacting towards the teams that lost. It is overreacting to the teams that won. I want to completely repick my ACC. like,
Yeah.
the whole thing has been reshaped. I think Miami and Clemson don't play each other, but I think we might just spend the whole year building towards the ACC championship game, but now Florida State is directly in that conversation too. Things just got a
Oh,
lot
they're
more.
very in that
Things
conversation.
got extremely more interesting in that conference. Like you said earlier, it doesn't look like the same old lie down ACC. You know, so
No, it
we'll see.
doesn't.
Yeah,
And October 4th, we get Miami going to Florida State. So
big game.
that should be a big one. And then Florida State has to go to Clemson later on in November. So Florida State gets them both. Clemson and Miami don't meet each other. But those games just became huge with how Florida State looked. Again, it's hard when you have week one with these top teams playing each other because you have no kind of sense of how good they really are because they're playing really good teams. Like
Right.
uh it'll be interesting to see as they go on kind of how this all shakes out, but that's, just the kind of the nature of week one. And then that's kind of it for week one as far as games. If we did want to talk about TCU, UNC.
I think we should real quick. I do. I think we should talk quickly
So I
about.
think just TCU is just way better. Hoover, I think, is a really good quarterback. Um, and Belichick, this whole thing doesn't make sense to me. It really hasn't made sense to me at all.
Right.
I mean, she's on the sideline like with him. It's crazy. It's a total departure from the person who ran through the NFL for 20 years. Like it's just the dichotomy between NFL Bill and college Bill is startling, and it makes me feel like there's some sort of thing going on here.
His
And
final act has been bizarre.
it has. It really, really has. And I don't know if things are gonna get like. So, what's the end game there? Because you're not gonna like. Clearly, they're not gonna be like a playoff caliber team this year. Like, are you?
No,
You think he's gonna stick around for like 3 or 4 years, and maybe by year four they're winning like 8 or 9 games? Like that.
I don't
Like
know.
that
He's
feels like the
74 years
ceiling.
old. The
Yeah,
fit never made any sense to
it
begin with.
doesn't. And
It
and if he's doing this with like delusions of grandeur of going back to the NFL, like this is not gonna help that.
no, and also like unless he has just an insane recruitment next year and hammers the transfer portal, it's hard for me to see them escaping. Gio Lopez was awful before he
Oh,
got hurt,
terrible.
terrible. And then I mean Max Johnson, the backup, looked much better, but
Max
you know
Johnson, former TCU quarterback. Uh,
exactly. Hoover might be the best quarterback in the college football. That was insane, that performance. So I don't know if we can fully overreact to this, but it does not look like they're. It might say a lot more
it,
about TCU than it says about UNC, But no, UNC is going to be like a 7-5 team at best, and it's a weird fit.
But with everything you know about Belichick, do you think he's like really going to be out on the recruiting trail, like getting in living rooms, getting guys? Like, do you think he's really going to go out in the transfer portal and try? Like, I just can't see him doing any of that.
Look at this picture.
Especially, yeah. And I mean, it could just be like, hey, I'm a 74-year-old man banging a 27-year-old girl, and this is just the way it is now. But it's just nothing makes sense about this to me.
No,
Um,
it's super bizarre.
it's yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I don't really
As
get it.
as a
I don't.
lifelong Patriots guy, it's just kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't
But
really get what's going on.
we move on. They sucked. They
Yeah,
need to watch out against. They might have trouble with Charlotte this weekend.
we'll keep. Yeah, we'll stay on the UNC story.
Yeah, we'll update it weekly. But that's kind of our fly through, not fly through, but our wrap around of week one. A lot of action, huge week. And we kind of went through it there. As we move on, we will. But before we get into kind of top 25 schedule and previewing week two, we do have our tied trivia question of the week. Tied, our presenting sponsor for this
All right.
trivia question. Get all your bad answers out with Tide. All right, this week's question: 4 players have won the Heisman, National Championship, and a Super Bowl. Can you name them?
Boy, okay. I feel like this is a question that's come up a lot, and I have heard the answers, or at least some of them before.
I'll give you, it's 2 more modern guys that we watched, and then 2 guys that are kind of a little bit before our time.
Okay. Heisman, the national championship, and the Super Bowl. I got last week's tied question. I'm struggling right now. My brain is not working very well right now.
I'll give you the NFL teams they won the Super Bowls with:
Okay, that'll probably help me a lot.
Oakland, New Orleans, Dallas, and Green Bay.
Oakland, New Orleans, Dallas, and Green Bay.
2 went to the same college. The other 2 are different.
Dallas and Green Bay.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, no, this is kind of embarrassing, honestly. It was Roger.
Well, you shouldn't be embarrassed. This is a tough one.
Roger Staubach.
No.
Okay.
The
Navy and Dallas.
no. You want me to give you the colleges?
Yeah, I guess.
USC, Pitt, and Michigan.
USC, Pitt, and Michigan. Is Michigan Woodson?
It is Charles Woodson.
Okay.
Won a natty at Michigan. Contested natty at Michigan.
Right.
A Heisman, and won the Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. The other 3 are all running backs.
USC, and Pitt.
Yep.
The Pitt guy's got to be old, right?
Yeah, oldish. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they won a national championship way back. I think it was like 79 or something.
Okay. USC I should be getting USC easier than
One of the USC ones you should absolutely be
Dickerson?
No. You went to SMU.
See,
he was part of the Pony Express.
See, this is embarrassing.
I
meant Marcus Allen though.
Marcus Allen is correct. Marcus Allen won the Heisman and then won the Super Bowl with Oakland. You're missing a big USC one that won it with New Orleans, and then the Pitt guy.
You're telling me Reggie Bush won a Super Bowl with New Orleans?
He did. He won a Super Bowl with the Saints, and then the Pitt guy is Tony Dorsett.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are all pretty big names. You don't just.
They're definitely
You don't get that by mistake, I guess. You don't waltz into the Heisman Trophy celebration by mistake.
No, unless you're Jason White in 2007. Or wherever that he won.
Perfect segue to one of our.
It is a perfect segue as we go into our big games of this weekend. Going to Norman on Saturday night. The Sooners will be hosting the Wolverines. 7:30 kickoff on ABC. Last I looked, Oklahoma was 4.5 point favorites. That's already was 5.5. It's already down to 4.5. As of the last time I looked, the over under in that game is 45.5. Obviously, Bryce Underwood, the hugely paid recruit from Michigan, fairly impressive in his first go around against New Mexico. He's 21 to 31 for 251 and 1 touchdown. What I will say is Michigan only had 2 games last year where they eclipsed 200 yards passing, and their high was 208. So already that offense looks
Yeah,
much
much
more
improved.
capable, and like they've remembered that the forward pass is legal. So he's making them look good. Justice Haynes, the Alabama transfer at running back, he went for $159 and 3 touchdowns. So they look like they can run the ball. Again, it was against New Mexico, so we don't know. Hard to know exactly the level of competition that they got, but we'll find out this weekend because they're going against an Oklahoma team with a veteran quarterback in John Mateer, 30 of 37 for 392 and 3 touchdowns. Another one on the ground last week, so he looked really good for Oklahoma as they rolled. I believe Ball State 30 or Illinois State
Right.
30 38 38-3 or 35-3. So I mean, I'll start the for me. It comes down to the fact that this game is at Oklahoma, and Mateer is a veteran quarterback who's played a lot of college football. That I'm going to trust more than a true freshman, as good as he might be, rolling into his first away game in college, night game at Oklahoma. I just like Oklahoma being at home. I like Mateer. I trust him more than Underwood. So I think Oklahoma wins this game 4.5. I think it's going to be right there. I have a 24-20 Oklahoma. So I think, yeah, just the experience that Oklahoma has. I think their defense is finally looking like a Brett Venables defense this year. So I'm excited to see if they can slow down Michigan and Underwood. I think they can, and I think them being at home is a big deal.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma checks a lot of the boxes here. I think the offense is better. I think the defense is better. Um, and they're at home. So I have to stick with you on the pick. I actually like them to cover. You had Michigan covering by half point, but I'm gonna have Oklahoma cover 31-20.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think to me, there's more of a chance of it going like that than of kind of Michigan going in there and kind of imposing their will on them. Um, I just think this Oklahoma team is finally different, and like I said, I think the
Yeah, good
amount
again.
of college
Good again.
football,
Good
yeah,
again. Yeah.
which I think is
That's-
good for college football. I like when Oklahoma's good. I mean, I know for you it's not as good, but um,
yeah, I
it
prefer
is
when they
it is
suck,
fun.
but I
Yeah,
prefer when they suck. But it
it
is
is
what it
fun.
is.
Right. And then the other kind of the other marquee matchup this weekend, um, definitely, it's hard to follow up week 1 and all the matchups we had, is the interstate battle between Iowa and Iowa State. Iowa going to Ames. That's a noon kickoff on Fox. Iowa State right now is 3 point favorites, 41.5, the over under in that game. Um, the home team has lost every game in this matchup since 2018. So that's something to watch here. I will say this: I feel great for those kids in Iowa because they finally have a dynamic player to watch at quarterback.
Finally.
Mark Gronkowski is the most dynamic quarterback Iowa's had, maybe like since World War II, but definitely in the past decade. Um, he just he makes that team look totally different. I think he's going to be able to make some plays. Rocco Becht, also a really good quarterback, but I think that Gronkowski makes one more play than Becht. I think Iowa wins a really close game here, and keeps the home team loss train going. I have Iowa 23-20. Again, I really like Gronkowski as much as I hate Iowa. I really like Gronkowski.
I'm gonna play the really dangerous game here, which is never a good idea when betting college sports or any sport, really. It's actually a terrible thing to do. Where one thing that happens made another thing happen, which will make this thing happen. Never a good idea.
You're doing
Yeah.
some college football math here. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Iowa State beat Kansas State? Oh, good win. Kansas State had to pull a win out of their ass to beat, I think it was South Dakota,
North Dakota.
North Dakota, and yeah, I watched the
Iowa
internet
State
game.
beat South Dakota.
Yeah, and so Kansas State maybe isn't that good. So Iowa State maybe isn't that good. Iowa looked great. I picked Iowa to be in my 12-team bracket because I really liked Gronowski coming over from North Dakota State, South Dakota State,
South Dakota State. Jack Roberts.
Too many
I
Dakotas.
think it is Gronkowski too, right?
It's Gronowski.
Really? There's a
Yeah.
K?
Yeah, check it out. I mean, I obviously understand seeing that name and going Gronkowski because it's basically like that. Pretty sure it's Gronowski. I don't think he's related or spells it the same. Doesn't matter.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just put a K there.
Why wouldn't you? It's like the same name. It makes a lot of sense to me. I wouldn't call it an unforgivable mistake. I would go. I'm going Iowa with you too. I like the money line. Forget 3 points. I don't need field goal protection. I like that plus 120.
It is kind of an interesting plus 3,108 and then money line only being plus 120. It kind of does make you think a little bit there.
It makes you think that they don't want you clicking that money line because they know it's juiced up.
It is juiced up.
Yeah.
Always a fun early season game when the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones meet for the Cy-Hawk Trophy.
Yes. One of the weirdest names of any. I don't know. I guess it just makes me feel weird. Cy-Hawk Trophy. Like it makes me think of psyop, like a government psyop, which is not really positive connotations,
It'd be fun to have like a football game where like the loser has to be part of a psyop. Like that sounds very cool.
Right. Where the loser has to be part of like a CIA study.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we should put that on the line.
Like Iowa State, if they lose, they have to play on LSD for the rest of the season. Something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Might as well.
Yeah. I like Iowa here too, though. I think they win the game. That's a shocking stat you brought up about the home team not winning that many years in a row.
It's kind of wild. Yeah, no, 2018.
Yeah.
The away teams lost or won every game since then. All right, kind of a whip around top 25 this weekend. Iowa or number 1 Ohio State, obviously last weekend 14-7 over Texas. They take on Grambling at 3:30 p.m. Yeah, I don't know if I didn't do it in a way that you're gonna be able to keep up with it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Penn State, we'll get to our best bets after this. Penn State coming in number 2. They beat Nevada 46-11. They take on the mighty Florida International Panthers, continuing their out-of-conference just gauntlet that they have. They take them on at noon on Saturday before next week's massive matchup, interstate battle with the Villanova Wildcats. LSU at number 3. They obviously beat Clemson 17-10. They take on Louisiana Tech 7:30 p.m. Saturday night. Georgia took out Marshall 45-7 in week 1. They'll take on Austin Peay at 3:30. Again, if any of these games that come up too that we didn't touch on, you want to say anything about, let me know.
Right.
Miami coming in at number 5. They took down Notre Dame 27-24, as we talked about. They will take on Bethune-Cookman at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Oregon, we mentioned their matchup. They took care of Montana State 59-13. They'll take on
Division II Oklahoma State as 29-point favorite.
They'll welcome Oklahoma State to town 3:30 p.m. That's a CBS game. Texas looks to rebound after their game with Ohio State. They'll take on who may be the worst team in the country, San Jose State at noon. That's an ABC kickoff, probably locally for Texas only. Clemson Tigers, they fell off to the other Death Valley 17-10. They'll look to rebound as they welcome the Troy Trojans, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. At 3:30 p.m.
Very original.
ACC network.
They didn't think too hard about their mascot name, did they?
No, they didn't. Notre Dame has the weekend off after their loss to Miami. They'll look to rebound as they welcome the Texas A&M Aggies to town next weekend. 7:30 p.m. kickoff on NBC on the 13th. South Carolina they won 24-11. I obviously had Virginia Tech in that game. I thought Virginia Tech was in it more. But Shane Beamer improves to 4-1 in season openers. They take on South Carolina State at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus this Saturday. Illinois took down Western Illinois 52-3. They are 2-point favorites against Duke at noon. They're at Duke. That's noon. That's an ESPN kickoff. That game will be interesting. When we get to best bets, we'll talk about this next one. Arizona State beat Northern Arizona 38-19 in Week 1. They will travel to Stark Vegas, Mississippi, and take on Mississippi State, a team
There's a
that I
good game.
thought was very impressive in Week 1 in their win over Southern Miss. That game's at 7:30 on Saturday. Florida will take on South Florida in a big matchup. I think South Florida is a very live dog in that one, as good as Florida did look. They defeated Long Island University 55-0. If you didn't know Long Island University had a football team, you are like many, because
You are not alone. You are not alone.
no, you were not alone.
I also discovered that they exist.
Yeah, they're the Sharks, and they are baby blue and yellow. They actually have some really cool.
Yeah, I like the uniforms. I
stuff.
did. And the highlights of them getting absolutely massacred. I did like the uniforms. Yeah.
Florida State obviously coming off their massive win against Alabama 31-17. They will take on East Texas A&M at noon at home.
The old directional A&M.
The new Doak Campbell. Yeah. If you didn't know, that's kind of crazy. Michigan, as we talked about, will take on Oklahoma after their 34-17 win against New Mexico in Week 1. That, again, is 7:30 kickoff. Iowa State, noon, after Iowa State did beat South Dakota last weekend 55-7. We have Texas A&M beat UTSA 42-24, pulling away at the end. That game was a little bit closer than the score might indicate most of the way through. They will take on Utah State at 12:45 on Saturday. Ole Miss beat Georgia State 63-7. They will open up SEC play as they travel to Kentucky at 3:30 on Saturday. A reeling Kentucky team that did squeak by Toledo. Alabama obviously lost to Florida State 31-17. They will look to rebound against Louisiana Monroe at 7:45 on Saturday. Tennessee took care of Syracuse 45-26.
They looked really impressive.
Yeah, Tennessee looked better than I thought they would.
Their quarterback looked awesome.
Yep. Aguilar, he had 247 and 3 scores through the air. They're going to take on East Tennessee State to look to continue the winning ways of their beginning of their season. That's a 3:30 kickoff. Indiana defeated Old Dominion 27-14 in kind of a very sleepy walkthrough of the game.
Not convincing. Not
at all.
They'll be good again.
They do improve to 12-0 against unranked opponents since Kurt Cignetti took over. They will look to continue to 13-0 as they take on Kennesaw State at noon on Saturday. Texas Tech took care of Arkansas Pine Bluff 67-7. It's the largest margin of victory in a season opener since 1927 for the Red Raiders. They will look to maybe break the margin of victory as they take on a horrible Kent State team. That's a noon kickoff on Saturday. Kent State barely squeaking by Merrimack, a guy I know's alma mater, who just became a Division I program. So Kent State might be bad.
Texas Tech, right?
Yeah.
And Texas Tech's got that like guy with the guns, right, as their mascot. They got rid of it, obviously, because of the world we live in. But they had the gun guy, right? The Red Raider.
Yeah,
right.
They look like Yosemite Sam, kind of.
Yeah. Kent State, not a fan of guns.
Yep. Nope.
Right. Could be bad. Could be a bad matchup.
Yep.
Is that it for the top 25?
No. Then the Utah Utes.
They look great. Yes.
Yeah, they looked really good against a very bad UCLA team that for some reason was like a lot of people's like upset pick for the weekend. Like I didn't. They just
Nico,
they I guess
I am
Nico.
Olivia looked horrific.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna be yeah. I don't know what he's
That's a
thinking.
DJ
He,
ukulele
he
situation.
needs to stop listening to his family,
Yeah, yeah.
because he's in a bad spot now as
He's gonna, yeah,
Utah
yeah.
takes down UCLA 43-10. They will play Cal Poly 6 p.m. on Saturday. All those times are in Eastern Standard Time, and that's the top 25 rundown and what it will look like for week 2.
Yeah, so I will say I went 3-0 on the best bets in this segment that we're about to get to last week. But
Yep.
I got all 3 of our featured games wrong. And I went 6-3 on the weekend on college football bets and lost money. That's how good of a gambler I am.
Yeah, but you're still gonna owe the government money. Um,
It's true.
Yeah, so as Zach mentioned, he went 3-0 last week. Or sorry, as Joe mentioned, he went 3-0 last week. Utah -5.5 hit, Tulane -6, and Georgia Tech -4.5.
Mm.
I went 2-1 on the weekend. The Auburn and Baylor flew over. South Florida obviously covered they were 5.5 point dogs. They won outright, just stomping Boise State. And then Syracuse, it was alive till late in the game. They're +14. They just couldn't get into the end zone towards the end of the game. And
That was a tough one. That was
yeah,
a tough one. Yeah.
I think it was a decent pick. But
I actually like that Notre Dame transfer Angeli for Syracuse, but their
yeah,
defense cannot play that bad again.
no, they can't. And they'll take on UConn this weekend, which is a really weird line, that game. But I digress. So week 2, I'm gonna go ahead and take for my best bet threesome here. We're gonna take Baylor as they are +2.5,
Mm-hmm.
taking on SMU, an SMU team that I think is really still being buoyed by what they did last year and not really what they have done this year or the team that they're putting on the field this year. So I think I like what I've seen from Baylor. Like I said, I think Auburn's a very good team, and Baylor was able to move the ball against them and score some points. I think SMU is a major step down from Auburn. So if Baylor is going to be getting 2.5 points here, I love that. I love Baylor to win the game outright, so I'll definitely take the 2.5. So that's going to be my first bet of my best bets. Second, I'm going to keep riding the horse. I'm taking South Florida +17.5 as they take on Florida. I think Florida's a really good team. They looked really good last week. DJ Lagway is a really good quarterback. I think this game is personal for a lot of the kids on South Florida. A lot of them are from Florida, maybe not been recruited by Florida. I think Byron Brown is as good as anybody at quarterback. I think 17.5 is a ton of points. I don't know if South Florida wins this game, but I think they keep it closer to 17.5. So give me the Bulls with the points. And then finally, my last best bet of the week is Mississippi State. They're getting 6.5 points as they welcome Arizona State into town. I've kind of made my mention of Arizona State. I think they're also a team kind of like SMU. That's they have a little bit more returning than SMU does, but uh, actually they have kind of the same exact situation as SMU. Uh, but I think 6.5 as they go into Mississippi State. What really cemented this is they showed a video of their practice and having their managers like ring these little bells to simulate the cowbell that it's going to be, and I think it is not going to prepare them for what they're going to see. Mississippi State was a team that I thought was really actually impressive on Saturday. I thought they took care of a Southern Miss team that I think is pretty good, pretty handedly. Really were in control that whole game. So yeah, I like Mississippi State plus the 6.5. I think they're a live dog there too. So Baylor +2.5, South Florida +17.5, and then Mississippi +6.5 against Arizona State. Those are my best bets of the week.
All right, we got a head-to-head immediately. I'm going Arizona State
Wow.
-6.5. I picked them to win the Big 12. I really like Sam Levitt, and this probably is a hot take. I think Jordan Tyson is the best receiver in college football. I think
That is a hot take.
you'll be seeing him play healthily on Sundays coming up quite soon. Guy
In
is
a
off.
in a world where Jeremiah Smith exists, that is a very hot take.
In a world where Jeremiah Smith can't get more than 4 catches against Texas.
Against Texas.
I know, but his last 2 games against Texas, 5 catches for like 50 yards and 4 drops. It's not great. Yeah, he's obviously gonna I'm sure, have a monster season. He's really, really good.
But okay, Arizona State.
Yeah, I got Arizona State. I really like.
How do you feel about the fact that Arizona State is staying an hour and a half away from the stadium, and going to drive there on game day because they said there were no hotels that weren't casinos closer than that? That has been proven incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know why teams do weird stuff like this. It's probably not a good sign. I just know that Mississippi State hasn't played a competitive opponent and done okay in a long time. So I'm taking my chances here on this. I'm going to say there's got to be a bad team in the SEC, and this is it. So give me Arizona State to cover there. Then we're going. Where are we? Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you on South Florida.
Okay.
I trust you. I think Florida's maybe not quite as awesome as everyone is hyping them up to be. I think they're still pretty good, but I like, if we do believe that South Florida's got a real chance to be the non-power conference team represented in the bracket, then a close result here will go a long way. I think they'll be very motivated. Let's take 17 and a half. I also like the number. It's more than 17. I'll take the number. South Florida plus 17 and a half. I'm with you on that one. And then for the last one, I just had it here, but I'm having a tough time. Oh yeah, I'm going Texas minus 36 and a half. This isn't a homer pick. San Jose State is brutal. They are awful. I think they were the worst team last year. And it seems pretty similar this year as well. They lost to nobody last week. So give me Texas laying the 36 and a half. I think we win like 52-0, and everyone's like, oh, maybe they aren't so bad. I think the most interesting game of the week is Tulane, or not the most interesting game of the week, but I think a team I'm also looking at to compete with South Florida is Tulane. I almost picked them as a top line again. I almost ran it back, but I might wait for the following week when they get Duke. So we'll see how it goes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Joe Public bets of the week: Arizona State minus 6.5. We have a head-to-head there. South Florida plus 17.5. We agree on that one. And then Texas to rebound big as they take down San Jose State Spartans by 36.5 points.
Yeah.
Those are the Joe Public best bets of the week. Again, as a show, we were 5-1 last week. Joe 3-0, me 2-1. And that's kind of where we are for this week. We don't cheat you.
No, we don't.
Stick around. Follow us on social. Stick around on the Dude Shut Up Network as the main flagship show or flagship podcast.
No.
Of the network. Yeah, it comes on. You can find that on YouTube. Same channel as the CFP. The boys do great work over there. Check out their AFC and NFC previews they've had the last 2 weeks. They were awesome shows.
It's a video recording. It's not a show. It's not a podcast. It's just a video recording. It's an uploaded video thing.
Got it. So check that out. Dude, shut up.
Good stuff.